The algorithm is suppressing you, and that's a good thing. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the biggest mistake I made that prevented me from scaling to my first million. The biggest mistake I see creators make across all industries. I've worked with about 150 of them with my own agency and other consulting ventures that I've been in. That prevents them from seeing growth. And of course, the algorithm, the mysterious, whimsical figure that determines all of our social media success. So let's start there with the algorithm. A lot of people think that, Instagram's algorithm sucks and they're always changing it and they're suppressing me and my views are going down and TikTok's algorithm is getting worse and worse. The algorithm isn't some magical Wizard of Oz figure that, Adam Mosseri is just pulling all the strings behind the curtain and this creator's, you're taking a hit and you're taking a hit. This creator sucks. This creator's losing money. This creator's losing views. That's not how that works at all. It's very simple, supply and demand. Let's say there are 1 billion eyes on Instagram. And when Reels first came up, when it first started becoming popular to post on Instagram, let's say around 2020, I think is when Reels came up. Let's say there are 1 million people posting on Instagram and there's 1 billion eyes. Now, let's say there are 10 million people posting and still the same amount of eyes on the platform. It's obviously hard for everybody to get the same amount of real estate. The more people come into the market, the harder it's going to be, the more competition there is. So it's not like the algorithm's like, oh yeah, your videos are good, but now they suck. Now you're screwed. Haha, just for funsies to make you pay and work. And you have to pay for ads now and you have to spend a bunch of money on ads to hope people see your things. That's not how that works. They're trying to find the content that keeps people on the platform the longest. And because there's so much more content being produced on such a mass scale now, the barrier of entry is much higher. So yes, technically the algorithm is suppressing you because you're not getting as many views. It's not as easy to just pop off like it was in 2021. But that's not because they're making an intentional effort to hurt creators. It's because there are so many more creators putting content on the platform that they need to scrutinize very heavily who they're going to push and what is going to be seen by more people, which is why they prioritize watch time now over everything. Watch time and shares. What are people sending to other people? And what is going to get people to watch the longest? What is going to keep people on the app? Because that's what keeps revenue for the app as high as possible. So yes, most social media platforms become pay to play, not because social media platforms are evil and they hate you and actually, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if they love you, seeing as they're trying to keep you hooked and keep you angry and all those things. So let me rephrase that. It's not that social media platforms are trying to keep your views low and frustrate you in that regard. It's more so they're trying to figure out who is bringing in the most attention and reward them accordingly. And to be completely fair and completely honest, having the most followers now isn't the biggest advantage because they're prioritizing watch time. If you built a big following from 4 years ago, but people aren't watching your stuff today, it's not gonna matter. People aren't going to be pushed your content just because you have a big following. You need to actually create things people want. You need to actually create things people are going to watch for long periods of time. So this is a good thing that the algorithm is suppressing you because it's calling you to create a higher quality. It's calling you to produce at a higher level, which I think is ultimately the best. If you're trying to build a brand, if you're trying to build a business, if you're trying to build an audience and attract people to what it is you do, the only way you're going to do that as sustainably as possible is by producing a higher quality of content, by saying things people want to watch, by saying things people need to hear, by actually crafting a message that's powerful enough for people to back. So the algorithm, again, I don't think Mosseri cares about what you're doing. Let's be completely honest. He cares about the money going in his pockets. And the number one way to facilitate Instagram getting more money and TikTok and YouTube is by keeping people on the platform. And because of that, because there are so many people now, it's impossible just to have viral videos pop up and have your content be shown consistently because one video popped off or because you built a following because it was way less saturated. You need to create stuff that's going to keep people watching. And that means bury your leads with your hook. So don't give away the payoff right away. Become somebody worth watching. So have a vision, become entertaining, put in the reps, and actually solve valuable problems for your audience. I said and, like that was the end of the list. Sorry, there's still more. And be entertaining. Be somebody that people can actually sit down and watch for long periods of time. So this kind of segues into the next point, which is, it relates to the two things I said at the beginning of the video. How I prevented myself from making $1 million in revenue, and how most creators I work with struggle with this one thing. This is in fact probably the biggest problem creators struggle with. So how I prevented myself from scaling to over $1 million in revenue. I made $650K in 2.5 years Canadian revenue, which is pretty solid for somebody who had never been in business before. But the reason why I didn't hit $1 million is because I was too jumpy. So this got a multi-pronged answer here. I was too jumpy and went away from the thing I was good at before systematizing and making it easy. So I was generating leads with short form organic content on Instagram specifically. I wasn't posting on TikTok or any other platform. And I thought YouTube long form would be the thing that fixes my lead generation. So instead of making sure I was elite at Instagram first, instead of making sure I was really damn good at finding eyes and getting people to watch my content and actually having a message that's going to lead the views to become clients and systematizing it and making it easy, I was shooting from the hip on all angles, and I decided to go away from Instagram because YouTube was going to be the fix. So I put all my effort into YouTube, didn't keep up with it, didn't really have a plan that was actually working. And then I decided that ads would be the thing. And I didn't really put a lot of attention into ads, and I spent more money and I lost more money and I hated it. And then I went back to doing content, and then I had a bunch of things in my life fall apart. I moved across the country, blah, 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 blah. That's a video for another time. But the point is, because I wasn't focused on becoming elite at one thing first and actually putting in the time and the reps to use that thing to generate consistent leads for my business, I struggled. And it didn't hit me right away. About 1.5 years later, I shut things down. Now, of course, there's like a worthiness piece to this, that because my inside world was just on fire all the time and I couldn't sit still and I hated myself and I didn't think I was worthy of making money, I would naturally do things that would self-sabotage, not just in business, but in my relationships, personal life, where I lived, all that stuff. But this relates to the creators that I've worked with and the people who make this similar mistake, is that they're not willing to play the long game. They're not willing to actually go through the ugly reps, go through the shit reps to create amazing content that's going to attract people. So there was James Smith released a piece of content, a YouTube video, that's what it's called. He released a YouTube video on this, kind of disagreeing with another famous creator who said that YouTube is more important than social media because social media takes a lot more of your time. You gotta do a lot more things for it to be consistent. And James Smith's whole idea was that he disagrees because you need the reps. You need the repetitions to actually get really good at the thing, and then you can see what works, you can adjust, et cetera, et cetera. With YouTube, let's say you're only posting once a week, let's say the video doesn't do well, you've got the whole week to sit in it, to feel bad about yourself, and to try to adjust next week. With social media, if you're posting every single day, writing a new hook, writing a new script, testing things out, you have a feedback loop that gives you some sort of response every single day. This is how people are responding. How can I improve? How can I react? How can I change this? How can I adjust my approach accordingly? And I agree with James because he uses a great analogy that Hormozi gives. In some pottery class, they had two groups. One was told that their assignment was to create a perfect bowl. The other group was told that they have to create as many bowls as possible, and they will be graded on the volume of bowls they created. The second group, the one that was graded on volume, actually made better quality than the first group because they put in so many reps and they actually had a volume of attempts that allowed them to reach mastery in a certain period of time. And so that's what I would tell any creator trying to build a brand. Yes, the algorithm it's not as easy to succeed because the market is so much more saturated. There's so many more competitors. However, if you put in the reps and if you're willing to play the long game, if you're willing to think in terms of 5 years and 10 years instead of just 3 months, you will see benefits because so many people fall off along the way. So many people think in short-term time frames and it screws them over royally. They think if I'm not seeing massive results, if I'm not viral in 6 months, I hate this and I'm done. If I'm not getting a bunch of followers by month 3, I'm done. You don't need to go viral to build a business. You don't need to go viral to attract new eyeballs and new leads. All you need to do is target a certain group of people, speak exactly to their needs, and stay consistent. There are so many people creating content right now. There are so many new competitors entering Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, the social media world, that if you just stay the course, you'll see that most of those people fall off within 3 to 6 months, and the rest of them who don't end up succeeding and going the distance aren't actually good because they're not adjusting and they're not putting in enough reps with intention to achieve mastery. So that's it for me. Put in the reps, stay in the game for a long time, and recognize that the algorithm is calling you to a better version of yourself. You'll be better for it. I'll be better for it, as long as we keep our head screwed on straight and stick to the plan. If you guys want to say hi, reach out. Description below. You can come follow me on Instagram, say what's up. And other than that, can't wait to see you next week. Peace.